Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mrs. Malik, and I'm going to quickly run through a presentation to get us ready for testing on April 9th. So again, important for you to know that testing for juniors is on Wednesday, April 9th. We'll start at 8 and end at approximately 12:30, depending on if you have accommodations or not. We will be working on the TestNav platform, and just a reminder to all of you that this is a graduation requirement. Taking the ACT during the school day administered assessment is required for graduation. So a Saturday ACT does not satisfy that graduation requirement. You have to be here for the Wednesday test. So just to familiarize you again, and you should probably be pretty familiar with it, you're taking 5 test sections: English, math, reading, science, and there is a writing test as well. This is kind of the breakdown. I'll give you a second here to take a look at this screen. The English is 45 minutes for 75 questions. Math is 60 questions in 60 minutes. Reading is 35 minutes for 40 questions. Science is 35 minutes for 40 questions. And then the one essay question is a 40-minute time period for you. So take a quick peek at the skills that are tested for each one of those tests there on the screen, and the breakdown in terms of how many passages, how many questions. Okay, moving on. So we'll be using the TestNav platform. That is an app that you launch from your Chromebook. Each of you will have an access code, so you'll have a test ticket when you get to your testing classroom on Wednesday, April 9th. That'll have a login and a password for you in order to access TestNav. So right now what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that your Chromebook is set up for testing. If you recall, we did the same thing in the fall prior to our fall testing date, so please go ahead and log out of your Chromebook. I'll give you a second to do that. And we're going to do the system check. So you should have logged out or restarted in some way so that you get logged out. So on test day, you are not going to log into the Chromebook. When you get here, you're going to make sure that that Chromebook is fully charged so that it'll take you through the test. The test is a much longer test than you saw in the fall, so it will be super important that you do have a fully charged Chromebook in order for it to last for the duration of the test. So when you're logged out, you're going to click the apps, which is located in that kind of lower left-hand corner there. And you are going to select TestNav. It's toward the middle to the bottom of that apps section. And when you select TestNav, you're going to see it's going to launch that app for you. This is what you should see on your screen. And then most of you hopefully should come to this screen. Since you did already perform one of these system checks, it is possible that this is not the screen that you are seeing right now. So if you see a login screen that wants you to enter a username and a password, that is not the screen you need to be on. So if you don't see this particular screen, what I want you to do is go to the upper right-hand corner and click on this little silhouette icon, I guess. It's going to bring down a menu, and you're going to choose a different customer. Okay, so again, if you don't see this screen right here that has all of these different tests and states that you could choose from, you are going to go to the upper right-hand corner. You're going to pick that little silhouette icon, rather, and then choose a different customer. When you choose a different customer, it's going to bring you back to that sort of main menu TestNav screen, and you are going to click on the ACT. When you click on the ACT, it's going to take you back to sort of that login screen where it says the ACT, and it's going to have a username and password. We're not going to do that right now. You don't have a username and password yet. You're going to go back to that little silhouette icon, and you're going to click on it and then select App Check. Once you select App Check, you'll get to another screen, and you're going to select Run App Check. When you click Run App Check, most of you, if not all of you, are going to see 2 little green check marks: Kiosk Mode Passed and Connectivity to TestNav Passed. Great, green is good. All right, and the very next thing is we're going to run a network check. So you're going to click Run Network Check. You don't have to estimate the number of devices that we're using. I just want you to hit the Start Diagnostics test. And again, you're probably going to see a test results pass. If for some reason you weren't able to run the app check, or you didn't get the network check run, or it gives you a fail, let your Lamont Time teacher know, and we'll get you down to the help desk to make sure that your Chromebook is ready to roll for testing. Okay, so again, you're going to select the ACT from that test nav menu. You're going to run the app check, run the network check, and so hopefully we're all good to go. So this is what that screen should look like. Test results pass. Now you're going to go back to sign in. Upper left-hand corner there, back to sign in. Okay, so now this is the screen that you should see for the ACT. When you do come in for Wednesday, April 9th testing, you will have a username and a password that will be given to you as your sort of test access ticket. Right now, though, we're going to take a look at that practice test, and I feel like most of you have probably visited here a few times in your English and your math and your science classes, perhaps. But again, I'm going to remind you that this is a whole area where you can do a full practice test. It has an opportunity for you to look at the TestNav Examinee tutorial, so it'll walk you through all of the features and the functions that are available to you through the test platform. And I strongly encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't already. You have an opportunity to take a full-length English, math, reading, science, and writing test. You can do it untimed if you receive accommodations. You can practice the text-to-speech function again if you get that particular accommodation. So it's super, super important that you take some time to familiarize yourself with these tools and run through some of the test questions so that you kind of know what the platform does and what it looks like. So on test day, you're not wasting any time trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to advance to the next screen, etc. ACT does have some test practices for you as well. Eventually, this presentation will be available to you on the Class of 26 Google Classroom page, and so you'll be able to, this presentation, these are like live clickable links. It'll take you to different test practices, test questions, free ACT practice resources. I also popped over to YouTube to look for some of the more popular and in-depth tutorials and practices and test tips for you. So I put some of them right here, and again, this will be available to you. These are all active links, and so you'll have an opportunity when I'm done here to take a look at this presentation and do some of these practice tutorials. They're not super long. These general test tips might be a little bit longer because it's going to kind of take you through test tips in general, and then each one of these sections I picked a couple of different ones for you to kind of take a peek at to get some of those last minute test taking tips for each one of those sections. Okay, so April 9th again is test day. It's super important that you get a good night's sleep, you have a good breakfast. Again, bring that fully charged Chromebook. TestNav does have a Desmos calculator built into it if you're very comfortable with using Desmos, so that's great. You can use it on test day. You are also able to bring in your own TI calculator if you want to. That is fine. In order to access your scores online, you'll need to create a MyACT account. Many of you might have already done this in the fall to take a look at those test results. You don't have to, but if you want to be able to see those scores online, you do need to create a MyACT account. It will also give you the opportunity there to send 4 score reports for free. So you could pick 4 schools and send those score reports for free. If you don't do it through this MyACT account, or through this alternate way. If you didn't want to create a MyACT account, ACT gives you an alternate way to send those scores. And again, this is a live clickable link. Once this is posted into that Google Classroom page, you'll be able to click on it. But you won't be able to get scores sent for free unless you go through one of these 2 avenues. You're either creating the MyACT account and getting that done, or you're going to use this optional way. So I strongly suggest that you take a look at where you might want to send these scores to, because this is your opportunity to do that for free up to 4 times. This is a link that will take you to the Illinois ACT page. Again, it'll give you some more information about the ACT and what it involves. So right now, what I recommend for you to do is you should have received another copy of that fall score report for the pre-ACT that you took. I suggest you take a look at that and review each of the tests, see what you missed, what you could improve on. A copy of that test is in the Class of 2026 Google Classroom page. The next couple of slides talk about what ACT benchmarks are. So take a look at that fall test and let's see how close to these benchmarks did I come. This is where ACT says you should be when you do sit down and finally take the ACT. So these are the benchmark scores that you are shooting for at minimum. These are the minimum scores that you are shooting for. And what ACT says is that these benchmark scores correlate to success in those college courses. So take a quick peek at this screen. Then take a look at the scores that you received in the fall and understand, of course, that obviously you've had a few more months of coursework behind you, and those scores are naturally going to increase just a little bit from fall to spring. And what those benchmarks mean is right here on this screen here. So ACT's done lots and lots and lots of research and studies around first-year college students and the scores that they got on the ACT and how that translated to success in their freshman level college courses. And so here those scores kind of correlate to a 50% chance of getting a B or higher in those courses that were listed, or a 75 to 80% chance of obtaining a C or higher. So again, take a look at what scores you got in the fall, kind of what you're shooting for in the spring, and that kind of gives you an idea of how ACT says you'll do in those particular courses your first year in college. So now is kind of like a choose your own adventure, right? So take some time to review those results from the fall. Pick an area that you want to focus on right now in the remaining minutes of this Lamont Time class, and then over the course of the next almost month, or 3 weeks rather, that you have before the ACT on April 9th. Do a bunch of practice problems. Watch some of those YouTube tutorials for those tips and tricks that people who know the ACT in and out have learned and are sharing with you. Get familiar with TestNav platform if you haven't already begun to do so. And again, practice with that Desmos calculator if you're going to use it on test day. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is right here, and I would be more than happy to help you out.